Hello guys and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be doing a Singapore Q&A. I just realised I don't have my glasses on. You've probably noticed in a lot of videos my glasses reflect on the window in front of me and it really irritates me when I'm editing. So I'm sorry if you think I look strange or different. This is me in my natural state. So yeah, today we're going to be doing a Singapore Q&A. I asked you guys if you had any questions for me about living in Singapore since my 3-year anniversary living in Singapore. It's quickly approaching. It will be 3 years at the start of April. I can't believe it's been 3 years, like it's crazy. I asked you guys if you have any questions because a lot of my answers might be different now from when I was 1 or 2 years into living in Singapore. So thank you for all your questions. I'm gonna go ahead and try and answer as many as I can now. Someone asked, how do you keep your skin clear during your 3 years here? I'm Singaporean, but my skin is terrible from the heat. Number one, I have always had pretty dry skin, especially back home in the UK, and with the weather it was just terribly dry, like it was horrible. But I found that since I moved to Singapore, the humidity has really helped my skin. Honestly, what I love to do is layer my skincare at night. Now, I kind of took inspiration from the Korean, is it like the 10-step skincare routine? And I apply about 5 to 6 different products before I go to bed every night, and I also slather my face in oil. That's something I do. I always find that the more products I apply, the better my skin looks. Also, this might be TMI, but I extract spots every day, basically every night, which might seem like a lot, but honestly my pores clogs so quickly, so every time I extract, dirt comes out of my skin. It's really gross, but it's really satisfying if you're the kind of person that likes squeezing spots like me. Yeah, that's kind of what I do to keep my skin hopefully blemish free. I don't usually get too many blemishes. What are the foods that you didn't like when you first came to Singapore but eventually did? Interesting question. I remember the first time I had dim sum, I thought it was the weirdest thing. I always thought that xiao long bao was so weird. Like, why would you have soup in a little white thing? Like, I just thought it was the weirdest thing, and I was like, I'm probably never gonna have this again. Fast forward to today, like, dim sum is probably one of my favorite kinds of foods, so that was really funny. Now, another one is chicken porridge. All my friends at work have chicken porridge every morning, and I was like, like, that sounds gross. It smells kind of gross, like why would you want to eat that for breakfast? Eventually tried it and it's actually really nice. I don't know if I would have it for breakfast, but the taste of it is actually really yummy. So chicken porridge is another one that I changed my mind on. I think it's like seaweed. I would never have like touched seaweed. I would have thought, oh, that's so weird, but actually it's really good. There's a lot of foods that I changed my mind on. In hindsight, I would say don't judge something before you've even tried it, or at least give it a couple of goes before you change your mind. What are some of the things that are done better, or things that you prefer in the UK compared to Singapore? To be honest, not too many things. I guess one thing I would say is I miss going to the grocery shop. You know that I miss this, guys. I say it all the time, but I miss going to like Tesco's and buying cheap fruit and vegetables. That's something I find really hard to do here. Maybe just the free healthcare, because I find it really frustrating every time I have to go to the doctors here that I have to pay to go to the doctors, but then I wouldn't be able to get healthcare here anyway because I'm not a Singaporean citizen. But that's something I miss from home, is like going to the doctors or going to the chemist and not necessarily having to pay for it. But honestly, apart from that, there's not much else that I think the UK does better. Maybe I would like people to have freedom of speech a bit more, to kind of voice their opinions a bit more in Singapore. But apart from that, lots of things that are cheaper, and I appreciate the price and the efficiency of public transport so much here compared to the UK. So not too much, to be honest. Congratulations on your 3rd anniversary in Singapore. Thank you. So for the 3 years in Singapore, have you ever been told to leave Singapore? And what nasty comments have you received that makes you think of leaving? I think being online leaves me wide open for trolls and people like that. So yeah, I've had a lot of comments telling me to leave the country and, you know, those kind of things, which I think is really sad, but I just ignore them nowadays. Like, oh, they're obviously having a bad day, they're having a bit of a shit time. I'm not gonna let it affect me. So I told this story before in a previous video, so I'll link it in the iCards if you haven't watched it already. But basically, a publication in Singapore wrote an article about me. They completely manipulated what I had said. Consequently, the comments that came from that post were really xenophobic, pretty shocking, and a lot of people, you know, just saying like I'm white trash, leave the country, come here, stealing our jobs, la 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 la. I came to realise I'm not gonna let these people's crazy, negative, racist thoughts control me or control my emotions, so I just decided to switch it off and ignore them. I also made a video about trying 7-Eleven drinks in Singapore. That is the only video that I have had to turn the comments off. I had to disable the comments because they were just getting so ridiculous. People were telling me to leave the country, like, if you don't like our drinks, then why don't you just leave Singapore? You know, these drinks aren't exclusive to Singapore, they're not Singaporean drinks. So I just found it so bizarre that people were getting that riled up over it. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. If I didn't like a drink and you found it offensive, I'm sorry, but that's on you. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. I didn't feel like I was being mean or anything like that, because at the end of the day, they're manufactured by like a Coca-Cola company. It can't be offensive to you. If you like the drink, good for you. There's lots of things that I like to drink and eat that you might not like to drink and eat. Am I going to hold that against you? Absolutely not. Am I going to tell you to get out of the country? No. So I just feel like some people need to chill out sometimes. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. Let's just not create hate over just crazy minuscule things. I think a lot of people will always be closed-minded, but I hope that these videos help to kind of educate people and make them realize that everyone has the right to stay and live and experience being in another country. So everyone should be treated with the same respect, and I would never wish that upon anyone else. So how do you manage to go on holiday with so little paid leave? Okay, so the answer is public holidays. We in Singapore get probably about 8 to 10 public holidays a year. It's pretty good. So I just work out my holiday around that. So if there's a bank holiday on a Monday and a Tuesday, then I'll try and go like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So any way that I can maximize holiday time. That is usually how we manage our trips. Is the working culture in Singapore more stressful, longer hours than in the UK? How much longer do you plan to stay in Singapore? Are the working hours long? So obviously I've only worked in a startup in Singapore, and like I've mentioned before, the hours were long, usually never finish work on time, and yeah, you'd work outside your contracted hours very, very often. I can't say if this is the same for all different companies in Singapore, because I'm only talking from my own experience. So I would love you guys to comment below if you work in Singapore. Let us know what your work life is like. Do you work long hours? Do you find it's more stressful to work in Singapore? I personally would say yes, but I don't want to speak on behalf of all companies in Singapore. So I think it'd be really great if you guys can leave your experiences as well, so other people can learn. As for how much longer we plan to stay in Singapore, so we only intended to be here for 3 years, but we really like it here. So I would like to say that we'd stay at least another year, but nothing's set in stone yet, so I don't know, I'll keep you guys updated on that, but I would like to stay at least another year. Can you stand the heat here? I definitely can't. Yes, like I've mentioned, I absolutely love the heat here. I think it's just the fact that I'm from the UK where it's always freezing cold, so having sun makes me so happy. I need that vitamin D, and I would tell Singaporeans just to embrace it. You know, I guarantee you, if you move to a colder country, you would feel miserable. So I really hope that you can sometimes appreciate the weather here. I know it can be too hot sometimes to be out in, but just look around, enjoy the sunlight, the blue skies, just appreciate what you have, guys, because people dream of having this kind of weather. So yes, I love the weather here. Congrats on 3 years, Georgia. Is it easy to connect with locals once you arrive to help the expat transition? Good question. So luckily for me, I joined a Singaporean company which allowed me to connect with locals every single day. And I think this benefited me massively, not only to learning about Singapore culture, but just learning Singlish and learning so much more about the country that I now live in. I think it's so beneficial. So if you are able to work in a local company, I would 100% recommend it. If not, you can join sports teams, local classes, just find some kind of way to mingle with locals, because I know it can be difficult. The Singaporeans living here, they already have their friendship group, they already have their family, so you think, well, why would they want to mingle with expats? And they're not going to be actively seeking it. So as an expat, I think you're the one that has to be kind of finding a way to connect with locals. So yeah, I would just say join a class, look online, see if there's any local meetups, that kind of thing. Have you ever been recognized by your fans here? I don't want to call them fans because I don't like that word, so I just call them viewers. But yes, I've met a lot of lovely viewers here, which I love. I love meeting you guys out and about, and I always think it's so great when you guys come and say hello to me, because I would say that I am quite shy in real life, so I don't know if I would ever go up to a YouTuber that I watch in person. So I always appreciate it so much when you guys come and say hello to me, because I think sometimes it can be nerve-wracking, right? But I'm literally just a normal person. I do not bite. I love it when you guys come and say hello to me. So if you see me out and about, please do just come and say hi. I would love to meet a lot more. Like I said, this whole meetup thing has been in my mind for a while now, and to be honest, like, I'm a bit nervous to do a meetup. Would you guys come to a meetup if I did one? Please comment below, let me know if you would come. I'm trying to figure out how I would do it, but I definitely want to try and do one because I just think it would be a great way to get all you guys together and meet you at the same time. Someone's asked, what are your thoughts on the word angmoh? Angmoh. So, this might be controversial. I don't really like being called angmoh. Now, I know a lot of Caucasians and Westerners in Singapore that don't mind being called it. They probably call themselves it sometimes, but I think I've had bad experiences with the word. I've heard it used a lot in derogatory ways, and then as I read a load of the comments on the post, it all using that word in a derogatory way, and I just thought, well, the way I'm seeing that word being used is not in a nice way. So I personally don't like being called it. I would rather be referred to as, you know, British, or just by my name, Georgia. Sometimes I feel like when Singaporeans use the word, they're kind of categorizing all white people as a race, and I find it a tiny bit ignorant, because our cultures are also so different. So bundling us all together and stereotyping us as one kind of race makes no sense to me. It would be in the same way that I would say, oh, all Asians are this. But obviously I know now from living in Singapore that Thai people are very different to Vietnamese, and Chinese are very different to Japanese. So I would never just stereotype everyone as the same kind of person. Does that make sense? So yeah, personally I don't like being called it, but I would love to hear your thoughts on the word. Do you think it's used in a derogatory way, or do you use the word in everyday life? I would love to know. So yeah, we can have a little chat about it. How did you and your boyfriend get the expat contract to move to Singapore? Was it provided by a company one of you already worked with, or did you apply? Justin worked for a company in the UK and they offered him a position in Singapore. So it's the same company. They had another office out here. So they just transferred him to Singapore, and that's how we ended up here. And I basically just followed him. So that's how we got here. Okay guys, I'm gonna end the video here. I really hope you enjoyed it and that it was helpful. Thank you so much for all your questions as always. I'm gonna just try and respond to the rest of you that left questions that I haven't answered in this video, because it would be too long. And as always, if you have any more questions, be sure to comment them down below and I will answer them for you guys. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you're new here. Turn on the notification bell as well, because that notifies you every time I upload a video, and if you want to be the first ones to see it, then that's what you gotta do. Just out of curiosity, I'm gonna end this on a question. I want to know if you guys have been watching me since I moved to Singapore, or before I moved to Singapore, or just recently. I would just love to know, like, when you started kind of watching me and when you discovered my videos, because I always find that really interesting. And I know a lot of you have been watching me back when I was in the UK, before I even moved to Singapore, which is crazy to me. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that's stuck around, even if it's from the beginning or if you just started watching recently. It really means so much to me, and I love taking you guys on my journey here. So yes, okay, I'm gonna go now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.